All right, so the first thing I'm going to try to tackle on this is getting the upper engine harnesses removed, the injector harness and the harness that has the mass airflow sensor and throttle bodies in it. And I'll probably pull the throttle bodies off because they usually need a little bit of wiring work in them too. So that's the first thing I want to address before I try putting a battery in this or trying to crank it over with the condition it's in so I don't kill anything. But as far as I know, it did run and drive until where it was parked, so hopefully it would still run and drive once I get it all back together. That's the plan anyway. Yeah, so a lot of this I'll probably just set up a time lapse of working on stuff, and I'll kind of pull the camera in once I find something interesting or have a little step that people might want to see. So I just got the passenger side airbox and mass airflow sensor on. You can kind of see in there how clean this car is. It's pretty amazing. I was looking down at the radiator through there and it's all in great condition. So yeah, I don't think this car saw much winter driving or much in the snow or rain at all. I'm used to working on classic cars that have been abused and driven in the salt and road all their lives and having to replace the whole floor and rocker panels and all that. So yeah, these definitely need to be addressed. These airboxes are a little difficult to get out of there if you had never done it before, and that mass airflow sensor was pretty stuck on that boot. I think at some point we had a friend living in here. There's a bunch of seeds that look like packed in there, so luckily on the bottom of the filter, so I don't think they made it far, but yeah. Filters that I pulled out were pretty clean, not bad looking. They're This is the one from the driver's side with the seeds, but not bad. They are Mercedes part numbers. Yep, here we go. So original Mercedes filters. They were pretty clean. I'll try to get a replacement OEM set. For this project, I'm probably not buying parts directly from Mercedes just because of the budget. I'm gonna try to source everything at least from the OEM that made the part. So it's the same part, just doesn't have the Mercedes stamp on it. And this side's pretty clean as well. And, there's the oil filter down there. Doesn't look like it's covered in oil. Valve cover gaskets look like they were holding. And as far as actually getting those air boxes out, it's not too bad actually, but you gotta loosen the screw, and then there's two clips on either side of the mass airflow sensor. And then I'm assuming there's supposed to be a mount somewhere here. I think this side got broken off on both of those because it was pretty loose and wasn't holding anything in. And I think unfortunately, again, right there, that one got broken off. That's what those studs are supposed to look like right next to that connector. So I'll have to try to find new mounts for those. Sorry about the background noise. That's the shop heater. It is winter outside right now. And I knew these wiring plastics were bad, but that connector just like disintegrated from the lightest touch. So I think those connectors I can source and buy. Guess I got to be a little more careful here. So injector harness is out. Not bad. The last two injectors there in the back are actually pretty hard to get to. I had to pull off. It's a fuel return line and one that goes through the fuel chiller there to be able to get back there. But so they're both behind those last two runners, but this thing is bad. So if you're ever wondering how bad the notorious wiring is, it's pretty bad. There's not much left in here. That's all bare copper. Same with all these guys. There's nothing left of these. If you have one that's running on an original harness that from the infected years, you really need to get into replacing that before it gets. Probably take this home tonight, and we got some supplies coming to rebuild these. These connectors you can buy. They're standard, used on many cars. So I'll buy new connectors for the injectors and pins. Pretty sure you can buy these guys too, because here's the one I broke. These ones I think might be proprietary to Mercedes, but here's our engine now. It's already looking a little more open in here without the air boxes. We'll probably end up pulling the fuel rail and trying to clean that out and all the fuel lines. Did get some fuel in those lines when I pulled them off. It smells pretty bad, but it doesn't look bad in there. It's still liquid, which is good. So hopefully these injectors might live. I'll probably pull that out when I'm putting it back together and soak them and clean them, and hopefully I can reuse them. Everything else in here looks pretty good. Now I've got the hood in service mode there to make it a little easier to access. You just have to take the tension off it while it's up, so lower it down a little, and then you pull these tabs out on both sides. It's a little tricky to do by yourself. You might need someone else to hold one tab, and then you just click it all the way up, and then those click down and lock it up there. Another good thing about this car is still has the hood liner in it, and it's not in bad shape. Most of them are all falling apart or falling out. That's all the time I have for tonight here. Next steps are getting the rest of this wiring all pulled out of here. Alright, so I've got the MAF sensor wiring at least pulled out up to where it goes into the main harness, into the computer box there, and I got the two ECUs pulled out. The rest of this wiring should be fine. They didn't use the same bad insulation on them. It was just the stuff that was actually running onto the engine. So hopefully all that can stay, and I'll have to replace a couple more things in there. I'm at the point where I have to pull this box out to get to the wiring underneath all these connectors here. These modules, they're in here a bit tight. You can't really grab them. So what I found is just take a screwdriver and very gently grab this little tab under there and just kind of rock them back and forth. And they'll slowly work their way out. You just got to be really delicate because these modules are very expensive now and hard to find. But just slowly make your way out and it'll pop free of the connector. I think that side's about out almost. And as far as I know, you have to pull all of these out to get this actual box out. And there we go. So there's that one. So I just have to repeat that a couple more times and see about getting this box removed to add the new wires. I think it's safe to say this is the original cabin air filter here. It's pretty dusty in there. I figured you have to remove this cover piece to remove this hose, because there's a bolt under there that holds this in. There's bolts around these perimeter. Back two are a little hard to get to there. It took a little bit figuring out what extensions and stuff can get down around that corner there. Once I get this tube out and that bolt out, I should be able to lift this top aluminum plate off, and then it should just be those connectors down there. Alright, so I just got that upper housing out. So it wasn't terrible, it's a little tight, wiggling it out of there. Yeah, so these are the two sets of connectors that need to be rewired, which I think you just kind of push those tabs towards the outside and they'll pop out. So digging into the harness where it comes into the box a little more, and this is the other half of the injector and mass airflow sensor. No, this is the other half of just the injector harness. And you know, these wires look fine. They're flexible enough, and they're not cracking apart. But it does get bundled together with the mass airflow sensors and all that fun stuff. So I'll have to work on pulling that out. Alright, so this throttle body connector fought me quite a lot. I had to cut it in half and then pull out the one half, but you can buy these connectors, so I ordered some of those. This half should be fine, and I think the wiring on this half is also fine, but the wiring inside of here needs to be redone, and that just runs to the throttle body there. So I'll get that done once that connector comes in. Alright, so here's the right hand side mass airflow sensor connector. I just rewired it, and these ones you have to cut them open on the injection mold line there, so did that carefully and then got new wires run on it. Had some good thick adhesive line heat shrink that I put on there and then wrapped it back where it goes into the harness. So this one's done, and then I have to you know, run these down into the box. Apparently it's a lot easier to just poke a hole in the box there where all the computers are and just run these. I think it'll come out to 9 wires with both of them in there instead of trying to pull everything out and having to cut the main harness and everything. So this should work out pretty good. Just gotta do this again for the other side. So this is the new mass airflow plug here wrapped, and I've pushed it through the original sheathing, and I got it wrapped about back to here. That's where it'll join with this bundle of wires. These two are grounds. One's for the mass airflow and one's for whatever that sensor is there. Yeah, these are the wires that are getting replaced by the new ones. There's nothing left on them. You know, there's green tape is very helpful for me, but you just label what each wire is, and then that way you can do multiple at a time. So I have right mass airflow sensor 3. There's 4 signal wires on them, and got them all labeled here too. So I can either trace these back, or I think I do have access to a wiring diagram to figure out which pins they go to. So I'll try to, whatever ends up working out better, I'll do. I'm gonna get the other connector up to this point, and I'll try to record that one a bit more while I figure this one out. So yep. Yeah, so getting these cut is pretty hard with keeping it clean and obviously not trying to cut yourself. It takes a lot of force when you're cutting through about 1/8 inch thick plastic there. So it's a little hard, but this one's just about open here. And, yeah, so this one's not actually as bad as the other one, but you get these rerun. Alright, so after letting the glue there dry for a bit, I just put the heat shrink on it, and that one is all together for the left side. And then I'll I'll push the wires through the original kind of covering and then bundle them up with the other ones and tape it up back to where it gets in the computer box. Alright, so it's been a few days since I was last over here, and I'm still waiting on a couple connectors to work on finishing up the electrical stuff, but I got this mocked up in here just to see how that wire gets routed, and then it goes down that channel, obviously. But I think while I wait for that, right now there's nothing over here that I know needs to be worked on. I'm sure there probably will be, but I'm gonna try to start detailing some of this. And I did this panel, and you can see it's a nice clean black instead of that one, and kind of this little area here. Try to go through this half of the engine bay and get it as clean as I can right now. Just see how it turns out, because it's a little dirty, and I'm sure it'll clean up quite nice. So that's probably what I'm going to work on today, because there's not too much I can do up here right now, and it'll give me a good chance to look over everything more and figure out anything else I need to order soon. Alright, so this is just after a few minutes of a light brushing and scrub down. I mean, I have to let it dry a little more still, but this all came up pretty good. And I have a kind of plastic conditioner dressing that will kind of bring it back a little more. It's not gonna leave it super shiny, but it'll leave it about an OEM finish, which would be nice. Try not to disturb anything else too much while I'm in here. I might go back and try to get a vacuum in some spots I couldn't reach, or just if I'm working on it again, I'll get down there some more, but I was just focused on this kind of corner here. This will all dry pretty even, so you won't see any discoloration on it, and then put the dressing on it, and it should come out pretty nice, so I'll keep working on it. I'd say for not doing a full in-depth detail, it's coming up pretty good for just a little bit of work. See a side-by-side there, but just went over all this kind of lightly, and it's kind of hard to get into all the crevices of stuff, and I'm not too worried about it because it's not very dirty under here really, and I'll try to spray the conditioner on it and everything, but as I work on stuff, if I open it up more, I'll clean it out. Like when I pull this injector rail out, I'll clean down there all as best I can, and obviously the outside will get done when I can wash it when it's warm enough out. If I end up pulling the intake and valve covers, I might have these powder coated back to closer to the original silver color. So these fade, and then the coating on the valve covers can chip off inside, which isn't good. And it does look like it might have had a leak there at some point. Yeah, I'll have to see how far I get into it and what I end up doing. The intake's not terrible to pull out. Well, you know, the air boxes are out. There's a bunch of bolts around it. It comes off as that one big piece. They're kind of a cool design. I'd get valve cover gaskets and all that, but I'll see how far I get and how long the key's gonna take me to get. I'm gonna go into all that once I get the wiring wrapped up soon. I'll start cleaning up this side, and once it's dry, I'll spray some of the conditioner on it, but I'll probably try to get some of this tidied up. Should be able to lay the harness in there at least, and then I have to pull the throttle body out. That's the main thing on this side yet, replacing this connector. You can actually buy these from a company in Europe. Started reproducing these plugs, and I could not find these anywhere else. They're a little pricey, but these have to be done, and it's to me it's just worth it just to buy a complete plug and pigtail, and just so you don't have to cut it open and glue it back together and have corrosion issues in the future. Hopefully I can take this intake boot off without cracking like the other one, because those are also, I don't think they're made anymore. You can only buy used ones, so I have to find one for this side. So it's coming along good. Probably order some parts here soon. I got a list going so far, but I'm gonna wait until I get the fuel system into the fuel system before I figure out what I might need for that. Dropping the tank out and all that. But this car should clean up really, really nice. I'm still kind of just impressed on how well some of this plastic is coming up. This paint, there's a little bit of stuff and from stuff rubbing when it was on the road, but it's not bad. It's all really good. I mean, these pieces are usually pretty fine. They're under the hood and everything, but all the plastics in here don't look bad, and with the dressing on them, they'll clean up even more. So yep, it's coming along good. This is how it looks after a light dressing. Came out really well. It's not, it looks like it's like would be greasy, but it's not. It's dry to the touch. It doesn't get on your hands or anything. Just did a real light coat and just wiped everything down. But there is that spot on the cover, which I'm not sure what that stuff is, but I'll try to get it off with a cleaner again. Yeah, for just a light wipe down, not a ton of work, I'd say this came out pretty good. You can definitely see when you look side by side there. This car is way better than I expected it to be. And we'll start focusing on this side and getting this wiring wrapped up. This side should be a little more easier to clean. There's less stuff over here. And then I'll have to work on the hood liner there, get the fuel system apart soon. So it's coming along nicely. All right, so I got both of the throttle bodies out here, and I have the covers off the back, and interestingly enough, this is the passenger one, and it has the bad wires in it that are all shorted out and have to be replaced. But it looks like the driver one may have been replaced at some point, because these wires all seem fine. They're not all cracked. They're flexible compared to that. And I did slice the harness. I did open both of these up, and this one's definitely bad. And it's hard to hold open here, but this is the driver harness, and it looks good in there. I'll check it in another spot just to make sure. Nice if I don't have to do that to both of these, because it's kind of an annoying task. All right, so it's been another couple days. Haven't had too much time to get work done. Did get some more stuff in to finish up the injector harness here, so I did a lot of this off camera. I meant to record more, but yeah, kind of couldn't. I was just doing it in my free time. So there's each of the injector plugs. I have them all labeled. And the two, there's a couple temp sensors and some cam sensors that I'll get those on. And then I have the wires routed out and up. And I have some of them routed through this housing, and I have to trace each one into a pin and splice it into here. This will take probably a little bit to do. And depinning these gets a little annoying, but shouldn't be too bad once I get into a rhythm. And here's two of the molded plugs for the ECU temp sensors, and there's nothing left of them. I didn't want to try to cut them open because I was able to find a set off a newer car that has the normal wiring that doesn't have the issue, so I'll just splice these on to here, heat shrink them and tape them up and cover them and everything. But yeah, so that should be pretty good. So I'll start getting everything pinned in on this side. Once I get that wrapped up, I'll get those connectors on here. And then these are ones that I broke taking off. I just got a bunch of them because I figured I'd need them at some point. These are Mercedes parts. They have Mercedes logos on them and everything. Same part number. And the pins for those are right here. So those get soldered on. Those aren't actually too bad. And then I got all the pins. These are would be for the other side of this connector or the bottom of the ECU when I have to get those in. And then these should be pins that go into this connector here. So and some of the cable seals. So we'll get started on this, and this will probably take a fair bit of time, but it'd be nice to have this harness wrapped up. It has the most wires out of all of them. And then once I get that on there, I'll wrap this up. I'm still waiting on, I should be able to get this together. Should be able to kind of get everything on here back together. I'm still waiting on the connector for the passenger side throttle body. I haven't ordered it yet, but I did find one. They're a little pricey. Yeah, so that will probably be another 2 or 3 weeks until I get to that. But I'll have everything on the car side wrapped up hopefully soon, and because the throttle body just bolts in and plugs in, so I should be able to get all the wiring in here up and tucked back together. I'll get that wrapped up and kind of clean up that side as well. Then I'll start taking apart the fuel system and seeing what condition that kind of stuff is, and hopefully I can reuse these injectors. If not, I'll have to either find a new set, which they're kind of expensive, or have them rebuilt. They're not super cheap for a full set of good quality ones. These connectors are kind of hard to work with, but I got the first one there depinned. That's the whatever fires number, injector number 1, and this is the new wire I have run. So that just came out of that spot right there. So just have to do this about 30 or so times between both sides of the harness and get it together. This connector is kind of difficult to get apart. It did kind of break some, but not in any way it can't be reused, and this back shell kind of pushes into it, and I'll just seal it up before I put everything back together. But so it should go pretty smoothly. This will take a while and be a lot of fun. All right, so it took a while. I started recording it and it just took way longer than I thought, but it's been about an hour and a half so far, and got the one side done. That's all the injectors and a couple of the temp sensors and all that. And then this is the rest of the main sensors coming in, which are just these few wires, which are a lot less than the injector half. It's only eight wires, so that's better than 12, like 15, 16 wires there. So that shouldn't take as long. I do have to bring it into the connector and through there and through that sheathing first, and get that finished up, and then start pinning it in there. Then we'll have a pretty much all new injector harness here. All right, well, it's been about a couple hours since last update. This took way longer than I expected, but we got this connector all done. I left the screw at my house. I have to get that and then tighten that down, and that'll be done. It's all sealed. Kept the original Mercedes little boot on there. That's just how it was. That's where it goes into the channel in the car. And these were wrapped separately, so I kept them the same, wrapped them the same way. And they go through here, down the injector harness plate thing, and each injector comes out. I kept these original covers here. These are the original connectors too, because they were fine. Put new pins in them, all new wire. And then these are the 2 sensor pigtails. I got these connectors I bought spliced in. They work good. And, these are the new 2-pin connectors and pins that I got. And then I reused this one pin because for some reason this thing seemed fine. Everything else fell apart, but that one was fine. So I put a new pin in there. And yep, this side's the same. So this is more or less ready to go back on the car. Just have to get that screw for it. I was hoping to get more done today. Probably wrapping up tonight. It's late. I don't know if I'm going to put that on yet because I still want to try to pop this rail off and see what's inside. It needs to be cleaned out, and I'll clean in there, vacuum anything out. I'll do spark plugs too while I'm in there. I have a set of those. And then this shouldn't take long when I get to do it. About 10 wires in total there, which go into these 4 connectors here. I have to figure out a good way to get down there into that kind of box because you can't really pull it out easily. I know some people just drill a hole and put a grommet there, and that's probably what I'll do. It's hidden, and it's instead of cutting the harness or pulling apart everything and feeding it out. The harness will lay in here. I'll clean out this half. I have to detail this half of the engine bay still, but everything else under here does look good though, so fingers crossed it all should hopefully work. I do have to put new connectors on these guys because those also broke, and a couple vacuum lines I'm gonna order. Some of it's hard line that cracked, some of it's fine, like this is fine. Obviously I kind of cracked apart. I have to see if I can find either this part, this molded line, which would be pretty cool if I can, but if not, I'll have to replace it with something else. Because that broke off right there. I'm still amazed how nice all this turned out. I mean, looks almost brand new on this side. It's coming along. Getting this harness done was big because this one you can usually find. Aftermarket ones are still pretty expensive. Don't really have the budget for that, but I have some time, so happy I was able to do that. All right, so I got the fuel rail out here. It's only 4 bolts holding in. It's a little tight, squeezing it out with the injectors on it, but wasn't terrible, the fluid in there. 3 of the injectors, the pintle caps, there's black things there, came off and fell down the intake. So I have the shop vac out with a little hose taped to it. I was able to get 2 of them out. That last one back here, the valves are open and I don't really see it sitting on top of the valve, so it might have fallen into the cylinder. So I'll make a note so I don't forget it, but I'll have to pull that spark plug out and see if I can get it out through the cylinder. But I hope I can reuse these injectors. Obviously I have to get new sets of O-rings for them. They're pretty crispy, and I'll take them out, probably soak them and just try to clean them up. I'll see how they run. If I do have to get new ones, I'll do that, but to get new injectors, they're about $300 a piece. To get rebuilt ones, they're about $50 a piece. So fuel in there smells pretty old, but it doesn't look like it gelled or gummed or turned to like slimy, varnishy stuff. So hopefully it's not too bad. So got the engine here without the rail on there. I vacuumed it out, and this is that vacuum line that runs along with it. It doesn't look bad in there. I guess we'll see if I can pull, I guess that's number 4 spark plug out, or number 5 spark plug out, sorry, and see if I can't get that pintle cap out of there. Aside from that, a couple vacuum lines I have to order, and I think that's it for up here until I get it running to see what works and what doesn't work. I'll probably replace the rad hoses just because they're easy and cheap, but these ones actually don't feel bad at all. This one's missing a hose clamp on it. I'll probably replace this hose because it's a little weird. Yeah, so it's coming along. I had to take this tray that holds all the wires out, snake that fuel rail out. Yeah, so making some progress here. I want to try to focus away from that for now and try to get this wiring wrapped up today, because I should have everything to finish that. All right, so I ended up poking a hole in the bottom of this box and running the wires up into it. And then they'll all get wrapped up nicely, and we'll cut the old ones out. Depinning this connector, the first couple went pretty decent. That one fought a little bit. This last one fought a lot. New pin does slide in and lock in, so it doesn't pull out. I don't have any worry about running that, but connector did take some damage there. Yeah, so there's 4 wires for, this is the right side of the engine, will be the left side, and that's these guys. So I guess I'll probably click this into place because I'm done with this connector. I have to clean up some of the leftover stuff. And yeah, so it's taking a while. These fight a lot, but it is what it is. I just got 4 wires left, and then I can start cleaning in here and wrapping stuff up, and I can probably put this computer box back together soon. All right, so that second plug took about an hour and a half. Didn't fight me as much, kind of got into more of a rhythm. Probably about an hour actually. But so got that all in. This harness runs down, I'll run it next to the main one. Kind of have the routing be the same. I'll rewrap this. The only thing I have left to do is just crimp these are the ring terminal where the grounds came out. I'm just gonna crimp a fresh one on, bolt that down, but I can put all this back together before I do that. But first I'm gonna try to clean up in here and then put the computers back in it. All right, so got all down around under this box cleaned and got the computer box set in there. Just have to screw that down, wrap these guys up, and I'll try to vacuum down there a little more. I'll drop the computers in and put the cover on just so they're where they should be and protected. I cleaned that up too. Tried to clean around the sticker as best I could. Might try to find a new one if I can, just to keep it so it's all original. Yeah, cleaned up well. I didn't put the conditioner on that yet. I'll drop the computers in here. All right, it's been about a week again. Finally got back over here and still clean up this some more, but I believe I got the air filter for that. I believe I can put this top cover back on, clean that up too, but I believe everything up there is done. This trim goes up there. I'll knock that out in a second here, but aside from just cleaning under the wipers, which I can do that when it's all back together, this side is good to go back together. So I'll get that on there, and then that'll make a big difference with that trim, this piece here, back over it. But got to spend some time cleaning that up first. All right, so while I was about to put that cover back on, I found this kind of tucked down under there, and I looked up the part number, and it's a reset switch for the computers. I can't really find the plug for it right now, but I'm 98% sure it clips on right there. It fits there pretty perfectly, and it's contoured around the switch there like that. Yeah, so I'll have to poke around and see if that plug is anywhere, but I'm not too worried about it because it's not something it has to run. If anyone knows anything about those, let me know, but I'll have to keep looking at that and see what I can do. All right, so just cleaned out down where the passenger side air box goes. Still have to do some more cleaning, but while I'm in here, I was able to source these standoff mounts that hold the air box in that got broken off at some point. So throw these in, that way this air box isn't just floating around. There's one on the other side I have to replace too. So I'll pop those out and pop these in. Keep cleaning stuff up down here. Work on cleaning up the engine. Swap these connectors out. Just making steady progress. All right, well, before I put this air box in, I have to change the oil filter, obviously, but I was hoping I could get it off without ordering the special socket, but I have to, so it's gonna have to wait. So there's not much else I can do up here right now. I got all the mounts for the air boxes in, got it all cleaned up, swapped over the last couple connectors, replaced this vacuum line, replaced these two small ones. Just get the grounds done. Just have to bring some stuff over for that. I don't have it here. Ordered new injector seals and rebuild kits for them, and then I can put that fuel rail back in, kind of finish the engine bay for now. I did just lift it up because I'm gonna start poking around underneath at the fuel tank and everything. These cars are pretty heavy. They have the jack pads that they sit on. I got 4 jack stands under there, and I have the jack still under the front cross member. So I'm gonna poke around under there. I have new fuel pumps and filters for it to replace. And I'll probably try to drop the tank out too. So I'm sure there's a bunch of nasty fuel in there. Really happy with what I'm seeing so far in the engine bay. All looks good. Nothing else seems to be bad. I mean, the rest of the vacuum lines are all flexible. The rest of the wiring's fine. These are the fuel lines. Might replace those because those are a little hard. But all the vacuum lines in the back seem fine for now. I do have to figure out the part for this hose if I can order it up again. That just goes in there. Might be able to push it in there temporarily to get away with it for a while. But obviously I can't lay the injector harness in until the injectors are back in it. So aside from washing the outside, there's a little more cleanup work I have to do on the inside. But get some new tires on here. These ones looked like they were pretty much brand new when it was parked, but unfortunately they're bad. Luckily none of the wheels are locked up. The brakes did work when I pulled it in, so makes it easier. And looking under here, so there's the fuel pump pack, the filter. I mean, nothing under here looks bad. It's not perfect. It's covered in dirt, obviously, which I'll probably get scrubbing on that when it's a little warmer out. But I mean, there's really nothing under here that looks any out of shape. I have to replace the nitrogen ball. You can see one of them straight in the middle there. The exhaust and everything looks good. The only thing I've seen so far is the heat shielding on it up near the front is a little rotted out. It's no big deal. I don't know if I'll be able to find a new set, but I can just pop it off. I know the transmission pan gasket up there is weeping, so I'll drop that when I do the filter and all that. But everything under here looks good, so I'm gonna work on popping these fuel lines out. All right, so I got the fuel line popped off. I just shoved that extension in it so it don't fuel out, but it's definitely bad gas. It's not hateful. I've seen worse. It's not complete sludge. It's not brown, so I'm gonna drop the pump and filter down. 1/2 inch or a 3/8 inch extension. The big end of it fits in that fuel line pretty well, just so it doesn't dump out. All right, so got this out on the table, and there's the 2 new fuel pumps and the new filter, all from Bosch. So it's the same parts that are in here, just without the Mercedes logo on them. But seems pretty easy. They made this interesting design here, but just popping off each thing. I'll just swap them out, pop the new ones in. Well, I got the pumps swapped in. It's not hard. It's just the 2 fittings on the end. Unfortunately, I think I ended up with the wrong filter here, because this one takes fittings and it has tiny barbs on it. So I'll have to order that filter, I guess, before I can get this back in the car. But the pumps went on fine. It's good they're both replaced. It's not too much for each one. They're about $100 a piece. This filters should be pretty cheap. And I think I kind of took this apart backwards. There's 4 bolts that hold brackets that have rubber pads on here. I think you're supposed to pull those out first instead of unscrewing this. So I'll take those off and kind of put this back together. So one thing I didn't realize I just found out is the gas tank you don't pull out underneath. It's actually right behind the rear seats. So you got to take all this trunk lining out. You can kind of slide it out. So I probably will end up doing that. I do have time. It's a lot easier than having to drop it from under the car. So I'll probably drain out what's in it into a bucket and then do that. I'm just going to take a break from that right now, but I have spark plugs for it, so I might as well throw them in here. All right, so my phone died pulling these out, but they're not terrible. It was definitely running rich when it was running, and they're all suited up, and there's some probably water or oil on top of them. I think these are the original looking plugs. They're pretty old looking. Might need a little bit of a Italian tune up once we get it going. Clear some of the cobwebs out, you know. These still have the distributor on 95, so it's all plug wires, and I'll clean these up before I put them on, but they all seem fine. I'll pop the other side out, see how they look, and then got 12 new plugs to drop in. And this side, more the same. This one was it's like covered in oil, or it's almost like more kind of bad gas. Not sure what's happening there. I have to see if that valve cover gasket is leaking, but they're not terrible. It's kind of what I expected from this. Dropping a new set should make it a lot happier. Can't say I've ever had to change 12 spark plugs at once, but there you go. So they're all back in. I didn't want to clean it too much in case anything would fall down there, but now they're back in, so I'll clean them up. I'll still avoid the fuel injector area, but clean up the valve covers, and then might run a vacuum with a small hose on it just to get anything that did fall down. Pretty straightforward. It's a little tight getting to the ones in the back there, particularly I think that's number 6 back there, but it's doable. That one's pretty easy because that track piece is popped loose, so I can get back behind there. But yeah, so get that together and making good progress. All right, so I have that oil cap off for the first time. It was on there pretty tight, but it's not terrible inside. I mean, they could have had, I think, a little more frequent oil changes, but there's a little bit of buildup on the top of the valve cover. The lobe there on the cam looks pretty good. I can still see machining marks in it. They're cross-hatching on the machining marks. So it's nothing abnormal there. It looks healthy, but I don't see any issue in there. Nothing I'm worried about. Not as clean as I'd like it to be, but did just scrub down mostly the outside where the plug wires go in. I think made a big difference. I don't know how much you can tell on camera. I mean, this corner here cleaned up really nice. I'll do a little more cleaning up in the front. I can't drop the covers on yet until I get the harness in. I think once this is all assembled again, it's gonna look pretty nice. So do a little more cleaning up here and up front. I did mix my cleaner a little stronger just to help break down some of this stuff. I haven't really done the middle there because I don't want to knock stuff down the injector ports, but I did leave that plug wire out because when I was pulling the injectors, one of the pinhole caps from I think number 5 back there fell off, and the valves are open. I didn't see it in the intake runner, so I have to pull that spark plug out and get a bore scope and see where it ended up. So I'd rather not run it until I get that out. I had that happen to 1 or 2 other ones. I was able to get it out because it was just sitting in the intake runner. I just got it out with a vacuum. That one I can't see where it went, so it's probably in the cylinder. It's not really something you want to grab a valve when you first start it up and mess everything up, so